Good morning, children. In the before class, we have studied about the nucleus. There I have stopped the lesson. Now come to the activities related to the nucleus. So here, once again you see activity 4 in your textbook. Observing the nucleus in onion peel cells. So what are the materials required? Onion peel, glass slide, cover slip, water, microscope, methylene blue. So already in the before class, once I explained the experiment. But to see the nucleus very clearly, we are using a staining material that is called methylene blue. So when you come to this activity, take the onion peel. Already in the before class I said, open the layers of the onion. Inside you can find a thin layer which is called translucent layer. Take a small piece, keep it on the glass slide. Add a drop of water and add one small drop of methylene blue. Now cover with the cover slip. Take a blotting paper and drain all the excess water and as well as the methylene blue. Now observe under the microscope. Now if you observe under the microscope, we can see the structure like this. So these are the cells. You can find a thin outer layer. This is called cell membrane. This is called cell membrane. And inside you can find a dark staining body which is called nucleus. And the fluid, whatever it is present in the inside the cell membrane, it is called cytoplasm. Cytoplasm is nothing but a jelly-like fluid which gives the support to all the internal organs. So just you remember this picture. Now come to the cheek cells. So when you come to the cheek cells, so in the before class, once I explained about the cheek cells, now again by adding the methylene blue, we are going to observe these cells very clearly. So for doing this experiment, what are the materials required? Cheek cells, glass slide, cover slip, water, microscope and methylene blue. Now what you have to do is take one toothpick and clean your mouth from the inner lining of your cheek cell, scrape a little tissue and keep it on the glass slide. Then now add methylene blue, add a drop of water, cover with the cover slip. And now take a blotting paper, whatever the excess fluid is there, remove all the excess fluid and keep it under the microscope. When you observe under the microscope, you can find the nucleus in the cheek cells like this. These are the cheek cells and inside you can find a dark staining body that is called nucleus. And a fluid-like structure is called cytoplasm. And surrounding to each cell, you can find a thin membrane. So this membrane, is it visible for you? No, it is not at all visible. If you observe in the before picture, onion peel, this is very clearly, it is visible. Already I said in the before class, above the cell membrane in the plants, you can find a thick wall which is called cell wall. A thick wall which is called a cell wall. That is why the walls of the plant cell can be seen very clearly when compared with the animal cell. Now come to the next part. Now if you compare the animal cell and plant cell. So here all the outer structures of the cheek cells is called cell membrane. The outer layer of each cell in the animal and as well as the plant, it is called cell membrane or otherwise it is called as plasma membrane. Cell membrane is having another name called plasma membrane. What is the use of this cell membrane? Means it gives the shape and size to the cell. It gives the shape and structure and size to the cell. And this cell membrane is also called as selectively permeable membrane. What is selectively permeable membrane? Selectively permeable membrane means this membrane, it will allow only certain substances to pass inside the cell. All the waste substances are given out. So selectively permeable, it will select only the substance which are needed to the cell. The unwanted substance, it doesn't allow to enter into the cell. So it is called, that is why the cell membrane is also known as selectively permeable membrane. As before I said about in the onion cells, onion peel cells, you have found a thick layer surrounding the cell membrane. That thick layer is nothing but the cell wall. This cell wall is made up of cellulose substance and it will give the flexibility to the plant cell. Inside the cell, at the center, in the animal cell, you can find a nucleus. Or as already before I said, nucleus. What is the use of nucleus? It will control all the organelles which are present inside the cell, and it is a genetic carrier. Next one, a fluid-like structure you can find in the plant cell and as well as in the animal cell, which is called as cytoplasm. So this cytoplasm is a living structure and it gives the support to all the internal organelles. So what are organelles? What are cell organelles? The organelles which are present inside the cell are called cell organelles. These all cell organelles are, once again, they are present in the cytoplasm. They are embedded in the cytoplasm. When you come to the cell organelles, you can find different cell organelles in the plants and as well as in the animal cell. So what are the common things which you can find in both plants and animals is nucleus, ribosomes, rough endoplasmic reticulum, smooth endoplasmic reticulum. These you can find in the plant and animal cell. How can you distinguish between a plant cell and animals? Means by the presence of vacuole and chloroplast in the plant cell, easily we can say it is a plant cell. So the common character feature in the plant cell is the vacuole and chloroplast. By seeing these two structures, easily we can say it is a plant cell. Not only these, there are still some more cell organelles like lysosomes in the plant cell, like microtubules. So let us study about the cell organelles in your next class. Now come to the next part. Diversity in the cell. Till now we have studied what is the cell, what are the internal organs, where they are present. Depending upon the number of cells, these all the living organisms which are present on the earth have been classified into two types. What are they? Means one, unicellular organism. Second one is a multicellular organism. Depending upon the number of cells, all the living organisms on the earth were classified into two types, unicellular organism and multicellular organism. What are unicellular organisms? The organisms that have a single cell are called unicellular organism. So the organisms which are having only one cell. With the one cell, they can perform all the activities like respiration, digestion, excretion, reproduction. So these one single cell can be able to perform all the functions. So such organisms are called unicellular organisms. Multicellular, in the name, in the word itself, you are having the meaning. Multi, many, cellular, cell. Many cells are present in this organism. So organism consisting of many cells are called as multicellular organism. Here, why we are having many cells? Because we are highly developed organisms and different organs will perform different functions. So different organs, when they are doing different functions, we should have the different cells. Depending upon the functions, we will be having the structure of the cell also. So what are the best example for unicellular organism? 1. Amoeba, 2. Bacteria, 3. Paramecium. So here amoeba, bacteria and paramecium. These are the pictures of the amoeba, bacteria and paramecium. These all are come under the unicellular organ. Multicellular, example plants and animals are included in the multicellular organisms. So this is the diversity in the cells. Now come to the next part. Here you observe, this is the structure of a dipod stem. So in multicellular, this dipod stem is nothing but a plant part, stem part of the plant. If you take a thin section cutting and if you observe under the microscope, here you can find different cells with a different shape and structure, and their position is also different. Here outer layer is called epidermis. This epidermis will give the protection to the plant's internal structure. Next one is the cortex layer. This inner part is called the cortex layer. In this cortex layer, we can find a green color structure which are called as chlorophyll. Below this cortex, again you can find a bundle shaped structure which is called vascular bundle. In this bundle, you can find two types of complex tissues. One is the xylem, another one is the phloem tissue. In the vascular bundle, you can find two complex tissues. One is xylem and another one is the phloem. So, when you come to the xylem, the main function of the xylem is to absorb water from the soil with the help of the roots and sends to the upper part of the plant body. Xylem, my main function is to transport the water from the roots to the upper part of the plant body. The phloem. What is the function of phloem? Phloem, it will transport the food material from the leaf to the lower parts of the plant body. So these are also known as conducting tissue, and they will transport the food and water from one part to the another part. This is the function of xylem and phloem. Epidermis is helpful in giving the protection. So here, if you take the dipod stem, in this stem part, in the slice itself, you can find numerous tissues performing different functions. So already I mentioned a word tissue. What is a tissue? A group of cells is known as tissue. What is a tissue? A group of cells is known as tissue. A group of tissues will form an organ. A group of organs will form an organ system. A group of organ system will form into a human body or otherwise any living organism. Now, if you take a human body, in the human body or in the animals, we can find different cells. In the before picture, this is about the plant. In the plants, we have seen different tissues. Not only this, still there are numerous tissues in the plant body which you are going to learn in the 9th standard. But in this class, you remember only the epidermis and as well as the vascular bundle and as well as the cortex region. Now see the animal body. If you take the animal body, here see these are the cells which are present in the blood. These are the cells which are present in the blood. So here the red color structures are called red blood cells. These are red in color. Why? Means due to the presence of a red color pigment called hemoglobin. Due to the presence of the hemoglobin, these RBC cells are red in color. What is the function? Means they will carry the oxygen from one organ to the another organ. See the structure? The structure of red blood cells. Now come to the white blood cells. White blood cells are helpful in defense mechanism. That is, they protect our body from the foreign substances. Foreign substances means nothing but the microorganism. If you see the white blood cells, there are different types of white blood cells depending upon the shape and size of the nucleus. So when you come to this one, so these are the nucleus, and these small structures are called granules. The white blood cells which are having the granules are called granulocytes. These two you see, they are not having any granules. So these are called agranulocytes. In the granulocytes you can find eosinophils, basophils and neutrophils. In the agranulocytes you can find the monocytes and lymphocytes. Combinedly they are helpful in defense mechanism. So here if you take only the blood, in the blood itself you can find the different cells performing different function. Now beside the blood, what are the different tissues still which are present in our body? First one is here, you see the picture. This is the bone cell. Where does this bone cell is present? It is present inside the bone. So these cells are known as osteocytes. These are known as the osteocytes, which you can find only in the bone. What is the use of the bone? It will give the support to our body. Next one is the nerve cell. This is another structure. You see, you compare the cells, they are not at all similar in structure. If you see the blood cells also, you cannot find any similar structure here. So now, if you come to the nerve cell, where can you find the nerve cell? These nerve cells you can find only in the nervous system. What is the main function? Main function is to carry the messages from one organ to the another organ. So you see, again compare this muscle. This is a smooth muscle. So if you see the nerve cell, it is entirely having different structure. If you come to the smooth muscle, it is a spindle form. Where they are present, especially in the heart region, we can find smooth muscles. So next one is the human nerve cell. These nerve cells are present in the nervous system. What is the main function of this nervous system is just to transfer the message from one organ to another. See the differences? Here in the cell is entirely different, and here the structure and shape and size of the cell entirely different. Now you see the striped muscles. These muscles are especially they are present in the limb region, that is in the hands and legs. That function is in the movement, they are helpful. And next one is the smooth muscle. These are present in the internal organs of our body. So if you compare these cells, are there any cells which are alike? You cannot find any cell which is looking alike. In different organs, you can find the different cells. A group of cells will form into tissue. Next one. You see, the shape and size of the cell depend upon the specific function of the cells. So depending upon the function only, the shape and size is also depends. So before I explained about the blood cells and muscles. Now if you take the unicellular organism, that is amoeba. This amoeba doesn't have a perfect shape and structure. It will be moving continuously, it will change its shape. But sometimes when it needs the food material or when it wants to swim in the water, automatically it will extend its body to a finger-like structure called pseudopodia. With the help of the pseudopodia, happily it will capture the food and swallows and pushes the food into its body. So here the pseudopodia are also helpful in locomotion in amoeba. It is a unicellular organ with a single cell. It will perform all its activities. Now, you see, the smallest cell is 0.1 to 0.5 micrometers, which is found only in the bacteria. Already I have shown you human nerve cell. This human nerve cell measures nearly 90 to 100 centimeters. This can be seen with our naked eye. For observing the human nerve cell, it doesn't require any microscope because it's a big cell. The largest cell is nothing but an egg of ostrich, which will be measuring nearly 17 centimeters into 18 centimeters. Now, the size of the cell is related to its function. So, how it is related to the function? If you take the man and elephant, man is a small creature when compared with the body of the elephant. Both will be having the same cells, almost all. If you take the nerve cell in the man and elephant, in both the animals, the function of nerve cell is nothing but to transfer the messages from one body organ to the another body organ. So in the man also you can find the nerve cells, and in the elephant also you can find the nerve cells, and both the nerve cells in both the different animals will be performing only a single function, that is carrying the message from one organ to another organ. And last one, you see, the size of the organism depends on the number of cells or not on the size of the cell. Here, man, when compared with the elephant, man is a little bit smaller in size. So, don't think that man will be having a small cell and elephant will have a big cell, because it is having a huge body. Both the man and elephant will have the cells which are smaller, but this huge body is due to the presence of more number of cells. In man, we are having the less number of cells. So, size of the animal doesn't depend on the size of the cell. It depends on the number of cells. It depends on the number of cells.